DC powered refrigerators that we just got in. I just pulled this one off the pallet there and opened it up. We've been testing these for quite a while, but this is for our first large shipment of these. This is a 45 quart Indel B DC powered refrigerator. It's not one of those thermoelectric cooler types. This is actually a true refrigerator that runs on DC power, 12 volts or 24 volts, and also runs on 110 volts. And if you have a 220 volt cord, you can plug it into 220 volts also. This is a high-end refrigerator. These are not like the cheap ones that you see on several of the different websites that you can get for 500 bucks. This is a high-end refrigerator. You'll notice that this thing comes very sturdily manufactured. You can see metal latches, spring-loaded, metal handles, metal latches, completely sealed electronics area. Has even a little drip guard to protect the AC and DC plugs, as well as the fuse from any water that should drip on there. What makes the Indel B unit better than its competition is the construction. From top to bottom, it has a C-comp compressor in there, formerly Danfoss, but it has a C-comp compressor. Very thick insulation that's going to make sure that your products stay cold, or if you're going to freeze them, freeze them. If you look, this thickness right here is important. Standard racks that are easy to lift out, put your food products in there, but one other thing, a lot of people will take the racks out, but then you don't have air circulation. These racks do provide a little bit of space around the edge to allow airflow to circulate in and around the product, providing even cooling. The seal on the Indel B is like no other. This thing is going to stay cold. Unlike the thermoelectric coolers that a lot of people say, well, I can get one of these DC refrigerators for $100. Thermoelectric coolers consume 5 to 8, even up to as much as 10 times the standard power that these guys, the refrigerators pull. The thermoelectric coolers only provide a 40-degree delta of cooling from a refrigerator. So to say, if you're out in the hot weather and it's 100 degrees outside, a thermoelectric cooler is only going to give you 60-degree cooling effort. That doesn't mean your food's going to be at 60 degrees. That's the effort it's going to pump in there. Where the refrigerator will continue to refrigerate even in 100 degree or 105 or 110 degree weather. It's still going to perform like a real refrigerator and get down into the 30 and 40 degree range, even though the outside temperature. That's why it's so important to have excellent insulation around this. Hey, it's Paul Simmons again. Here I thought I'd show you the operation of this Indel B 45 quart refrigerator. As you can see, I've already turned it on. I'm powering it from an AC cord right now, just because I don't have a DC cord, but I'll show that later. First thing that you notice is it looks like a confusing panel, but it is quite simple. One of the things you'll notice is the temperature. It says 13 right there. The Indel B, because it's an Italian company, is all in centigrade. So temperature is in centigrade. Right there it says 13 degrees. That's C. What I did is I printed out a quick little chart from Celsius to Fahrenheit. You see at 13 there, it's somewhere around probably about 56 degrees or so. So this will, and that's the temperature right there. So the temperature range on this is from 10 degrees at the top. If you look at 10 degrees Fahrenheit here, that's 50 degrees. So that's as warm as the set point is. And then we'll drive it down all the way to minus I think it's minus 18. Minus 18 on the thing, so that's almost, what do you want to say, probably about 2 degrees below zero, which, if you remember, freezing temperature is right here, 0 degrees or 32 degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius. So it's going to go below freezing, so we're not going to set it down that low. Actually going to set this around 0 degrees. 0 degrees centigrade, so 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's freezing temperature. Right now, the temperature it's displaying inside the cabinet is 13 degrees. A couple of the other features I'd like to show you here, that the Indel B has gone the extra mile to provide protection. You notice there's louvers on 3 sides. You want to make sure that you do not block those when you're using these things. I know it's real easy to try and make everything in the vehicle or where you're placing this refrigerator fit nice and snug, and there's a tendency to put bags or other product, you know, right up against there if this is plugged in. You need to have about an inch gap all the way around it on other sides. This thing needs to breathe. This is a compressor. If that thing is not breathing, it's going to overheat and you're going to go into thermal shutdown. Not a good thing. It also stresses the components. So you want to make sure that you have enough room, front, back, and side, to allow this unit to breathe. Another nice feature here, I talked about it before, was this little ledge right here. Kind of protects this electrical connection area, the fuse block, AC and DC plugs, from getting moisture in there. If you've got product that's dripped out of here, or it's raining or whatever, it provides a nice little block there. This also provides impact resistance. This is a control panel. You don't want to be hitting that with any sharp objects or blunt objects. That's the brain of your unit. So this little lip keeps products from slamming into that. So here are some of the features and benefits of the Indel B YCD-45 45 quart refrigerator. You'll notice here that we've got a couple of different buttons, which are fairly easy to program. The first thing you'll notice is the set button for high, medium, and low. And this is for battery protection. When you are plugged into the DC port on 12 volt DC or 24 volt DC power, this will automatically determine whether you're on 12 volt or 24 volt. You don't have to change any switches or anything. But here's for battery protection. If you're very concerned about being able to start your vehicle, you don't have like an auxiliary battery or anything like that, you probably want to set this to the high setting. If you don't really care about you know, whether your battery or you're going to take this battery down to the lowest part because you got a spare battery, you got another way to start your vehicle, or it's running on its own separate battery, set it down to the low setting there. At low, that will drain the battery more. That's the battery level, low, medium, or high. So the low setting is that the refrigerator will start to shut off when the battery reaches 9.6 volts. At the mid setting, the battery will shut off when it's at 10.1 volts. And at the high setting, the battery, or sorry, not the battery, but the refrigerator will shut off when the battery is at 11.1 volts, thereby guaranteeing you being able to turn the key and start your vehicle. So you don't allow your refrigerator to kill the battery in your truck or your SUV or your car or whatever. The other setting over here is the compressor speed. You notice it has 2 settings, min and max. In the minimum setting is that it doesn't exercise the compressor as hard. It doesn't start as hard, it doesn't cycle as fast. It'll eventually get this cooled, but it takes a longer period of time, thereby saving battery life. At the max setting, your compressor speed is now running at maximum power. So the refrigerator will cool the contents down very quickly at its maximum setting, but it cycles the compressor faster and uses a little more battery power. When you're on AC power from 110 volts or 220 volts AC, these should be set at high and high. Well, this doesn't matter, but you want to set the compressor speed to max. That way you get the maximum efficiency and cooling while this is running. As you can see, I've set the temperature here at 5 degrees centigrade. Sorry about the reflection there. At 5 degrees centigrade, if you look over here at 5 degrees centigrade, that's 41 degrees Fahrenheit, thereby cooling, which is a proper temperature for most beverages. As you can see, I've filled up the cooler with 3 6-packs of sodas and 8 water bottles, and still have plenty of room for a lot of stuff left over. And these are quite chilly indeed. I have to set it. Turn that off. Unplug this. This is a standard AC receptacle called the IEC 380. It also has its own separate fuse block there. If you have a power, for some reason you blow the fuse, that's the fuse that you'd replace there. This is the DC fuse, so if you're on 12 volts or 24 volts, you'll replace that fuse. But along with that, you get this AC power cord that plugs into 110 volts. And then the accessory box, you have this very nice heavy-duty DC power cord, which you plug this into the refrigerator like that, and this into your 12-volt convenience outlet in your vehicle. Last night I set the temperature down to minus 15 degrees centigrade, which is 5 degrees Fahrenheit, so well below freezing. I'm going to open this container up, take a look inside, and sure enough, these water bottles are solid ice. This accessory box is the user manual and with the product specifications for multiple models. We're looking at the YCD-45 here. Safety instructions, the data sheet, technical data sheet. One thing I didn't talk about was how much power this draws. This draws 85 watts. Doesn't matter whether it's the YCD-45 or all the way up to the 130 quart cooler. Operations, there's the battery monitors, specifications, installations, making sure that you keep a lot of airflow, AC and DC requirements, size of the cable. If you have the larger unit that has a dual zone for dual temperature zones, DC connection, AC connections, talks about fusing requirements, how to operate it, power on, setting the zones. If you had a dual unit, tell you the left zone, the right zone, the compressor speed function on how that works, energy saving tips, use with solar panels, with portable generators if you're going to use this for emergency or off the grid operation. It's how to use this, and then tips and suggestions. All in all, this is a very nice unit. You won't find anything better than this on the marketplace. It is quite evidently the best unit that you'll find on the market.